Hello, my darlings. Hello, beautiful ones. Food for the soul today. Just a quick apology. I've had real trouble with technical things for the last couple of weeks. So even though I've had massive amounts of inspiration and been wanting to make videos about all kinds of things to help you, I've had some issues. So sorry about that. But here we go. Food for the soul. And today I'm going to talk about two specific things. One thing about the collective consciousness, in other words, everybody's thinking and the riptide and how we get caught in other people's thinking and the kind of mass fear, mass hysteria, the group mindset and what to do about that. And the second thing is, how to take something like fear, darkness, the unknown, something scary, something that feels more powerful than us, and even kind of minimizing it down to the smallest version of that, which might be somebody that's just giving you grief, a hater, someone that's giving you a lot of their negative energy. So that applies to the small version, though it's just one person, or even if it's just a negative thought in your mind, or like the big grand scale, what's out there, the big they, the big scary, the unknown, the future even. So that's kind of the spectrum of that fear-based thinking or fear-based entity, and how to deal with that like head on in a really powerful and really effective way, really, really simple too. So let me explain both things. So let's start with this idea of this current, let's call it the current media, the current stream of thinking, the current, and that word current I'm kind of getting really kind of into because it's meaning two things for me. Current meaning what's happening right now, and current as in, when you're in the sea or in a river and you can get caught in a current and it can overpower you and it can become really strong and even pull you under. So the other day I was thinking about, all the media, what's going on and everybody's thinking, and, there seems to be a lot of fear, a lot of worry, a lot of anger, a lot of hatred coming out, a lot of opposition and fighting, and this kind of mass collective conscious of quite negative, quite damaging, not peaceful, not happy thinking. And so I was thinking a lot about that. I was kind of dealing with it in my own way, which was actually just to get really still. And somebody explained to me what happens when you get caught in a riptide in the ocean. Now, I didn't know this. I just so happened to be talking about Byron Bay, and when I was there and I was pregnant, I wanted to give birth with the dolphins and everything. And this person said to me, this is what you do in a riptide, Tara. You don't fight it. When that current's got you and it's pulling you out to sea or it's pulling you down the river, the instinctual thing that we do is to fight for our survival, right? The adrenaline comes, we're feeling the fear, it's the fight or flight, it's like let's push against, let's force our way out of the riptide, out of that current that is overwhelming us. And she said, actually, it's the other way. It's kind of counterintuitive in a way, because what you actually do is completely relax and soften and get really calm, and you let that riptide take you. Now that to me, because I have a fear of water, actually not so much now, but I used to have a massive fear of water. Now it just makes me a little bit nervous. But the idea of going with that current actually makes me feel nervous just thinking about it, right? What? This thing carrying me and I don't know where it's going to take me, and I'm so powerless, I'm so helpless, and I'm supposed to not fight it. I've got to relax. I've got to let it take me. Yeah, apparently that's what you do. And those of you who know about swimming and you know about the ocean and you're really amazing at all that stuff, you're going to be agreeing with me, I'm guessing, because you know these things. And so the idea is just to completely let go and let the current take you, right? Not what we intuitively or instinctively think that we're supposed to do. So the same thing here applies. So this is exactly what I was doing in kind of energetic terms, not swimming. So I can do this in the current riptide, in this ocean of humanity and the ocean of possibilities and the ocean of thoughts and the ocean of feelings I mean, my goodness, so much high emotions happening these days generally anyway, so much stress, so much change, so much disruption. But even recently, I'm talking about political events recently in the UK and with Europe and, you know, whole world situation happening. And it feels so scary, and this is huge current, and it's taking people, and we don't know where we're going to end up. So many people feeling powerless, so many people rising with their adrenaline, wanting to be powerful, wanting to fight it and do something and act and, you know, be forceful in their opinions or whatever it is. So what do we do in that? And I see a lot of people getting caught up in that, and seriously, and it doesn't look fun, and it doesn't look nice. And I have a lot of compassion for that. I really feel you guys that are caught up in that slipstream of that current of consciousness. So please forgive me for that. Just getting caught in that must feel awful. And I'm seeing you and I'm hearing you, and I really have a lot of love and understanding for you. On all sides, it's not like I'm batting for one side or the other. I'm really not. I'm very neutral in the whole thing. Let me just tell you that. I don't believe in taking sides. I don't believe in that at all. That's just set for unbalancing one way or the other. It's just going to unbalance and keep kind of doing the seesaw action in life. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be in peace. So for me, because I choose peace, because I love myself enough to not get caught in that and not to get swept by this current, this is exactly what I do. I soften. And I use the power of this breath, which keeps me in what I'm calling a lot recently, breath o'clock. Right now o'clock. Breath o'clock. In tune with my existence, in tune with what's happening right now. Right now. Right now, not what's happened in the past, what's happening right now, not what's happening in the future, what's happening right now, not what's happening out there in the world and everybody's thinking and the possibilities and what could be. No, right now. And I've just been staying a lot with right now. And I tell you what, I've been feeling a lot of tiredness actually in the last week, just for a few days actually, extreme tiredness, where there was so much hype all leading up to that full moon and leading up to the voting, and there was so much energy going on that didn't feel comfortable to me. So I just went into total rest and relaxation, and I found myself needing a lot of sleep. And I also finding that all I could really do during the day was to meditate. And not as in a switch off, let me close my eyes, I can't deal with this, even though there's nothing wrong with that. Babies do that actually. When they're overwhelmed and it's too much and they're stressed, they'll just switch off and they'll just sleep. It's our natural protection mechanism. However, not to go unconscious. Not because I'm switching off to what's going on in the world, because I'm switching on to what's actually going on in here, in me. And bringing my awareness to that current event. This current of events happening inside me. This river, this stream of consciousness, this stream of truth that I experience inside of me. Now, I'm not here to preach to you about truth. This is just what I experience, what I call my truth, and you all have your truth. And for me, truth is sublime. Truth is whole. Truth isn't this way or that way or this side or that side. It's an isness. It's a constant. It's a sanctuary. And I've been resting in that, just completely letting go. And then just like the Riptide people will tell you, once that Riptide is done with you and it's delivered you maybe far out to sea or far down the river, when it's let go, then you haven't wasted lots of energy fighting, you've been calm, you've been balanced, you've saved your oxygen, you've saved your energy. And then you're able to move in the direction with clarity, with energy, going, okay, right now, how do we move from here? I need to go that way. And you've got the energy to still do that. You're not exhausted from the fight or like lost your senses, can't see clearly because of all the emotions in your face and the fear and the anger and the hatred and everything's up, and so you can't see the wood for the trees, so to speak. So that's how it's been for me, and like just coming through out of this slipstream and just going, wow, here we are. What an amazing gift to be a human being, that we have choice, that we have power. And a lot of people might not realise that. I don't think I realise that. I think it's bigger than any of us can really totally conceptualise. but it's something that we can tap into and start to learn from and put into practice and experience. At least that's what I'm choosing in my own way, in my own expression. So what then about the fear? How do we deal with those? Okay, what about them? What about they who have all the power? What about, facing that helpless situation and going, well, I don't actually feel powerful. I don't actually know what to do, or I think I know what I'm supposed to do, and all this fighting and all this aggression and all this opposing and all this everything. But let's just take a look at that just quite humbly for a moment and see how that's working out for us. We have very, very, very many years in human history of fighting the enemy and seeing how that actually works out for us. Short term we might win a battle, but are we winning the war? I don't think so. There's more people without homes, there's more people without family, there's more people without love, more people without their health, more people without their mind, more people without their senses, more people lost and confused and in pain and in suffering than maybe ever before. So let's maybe find a new solution, shall we? And so I have an offering, not that you have to do this, but this is what I notice works for me, works for all my clients, and works in any situation that I've applied it to. So what I notice, and I'm going to give you actually the analogy of The Wizard of Oz. Have you ever seen that film? It's a really old movie. I guess if you're my generation or older, you would have seen it. If you're under 40, if you're in your 20s, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. So look it up. It's a very old movie. It's a classic. And it's quite a metaphorical story for me. It's loaded, and it's all about the journey to truth, and it's, all these things. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But essentially, the point is, the travellers, the journeyer, goes to find the magical Wizard of Oz because she needs to go home. She's essentially fallen asleep. She's in a dream. She doesn't know that she's in a dream. She thinks it's real. She's encountering all kinds of problems, wicked witches, or evil and nasty things and scary things, and she doesn't know she's asleep. It's a story, but in this adventure, when she thinks she's wide awake, she's finding, okay, how do I get out of this place, this strange place? I need to go home. And in order to go home, she's been told that she has to go and find the wizard. And the wizard happens to live down the yellow brick road, and she has to follow it a very long way, this golden path. And the wizard lives in an emerald palace. And the emerald palace to me is like the heart chakra. If you're into energy healing and chakras and all that kind of stuff, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Green is the colour of the heart chakra. So anyway, she goes to the wizard, and her little group of friends, when they're asking for help for this wizard, what they meet is this big, scary, boomy voice on the wall, like a big projection. It's larger than life. It's dark, it's shadowy, it's boomy, it's got this very unfriendly energy about it, and it's basically saying, you are not worthy. Why are you bothering me? Who the hell do you think you are that you can come to me, you little low-life people? You're nothing. I am all powerful, and you don't deserve. Get away, So they leave feeling really disheartened and upset, and like, oh gosh, well, what are we going to do now? The big boomy power just didn't grant their wish. They didn't get what they wanted. And the story goes on, and basically they go back again. They've got no choice. She wants to go home. She's very clear about that. I want to go home, so I've got to go back into the Emerald Palace. I've got to go back into my heart chakra. I've got to go back and meet this magical person with all the power that can grant me my wish to go home. And she goes back in again. And again in the story, the wizard is this big boomy voice, and it's threatening and it's unfriendly and making her feel super unpowerful and helpless. And so what happens is her little dog, her little magical helper, maybe it's her little, the magical part of her psyche, if we're looking at this psychologically, goes to this curtain and tugs this curtain back. And in this booth is this very, very old, frail, little, pathetic little man just cranking this handle to make this projection appear on the wall. And this is actually the wizard. The real wizard is this little guy behind the curtain, pretending to be something that he isn't. He's making this massive projection of power and authority, inducing fear, inducing a sense of command and control, as if nobody else has that power, as if the others don't have any power like he does. And actually, he's just this little guy full of insecurity that he's having to make such a big and illusionary projection of himself. So the truth comes out when we look behind the projection, when we look into the eyes of fear, when we truly see what's going on in these controlling, authoritative figures. We can see that actually behind that is a mask, it's a projection, and maybe even it's a projection of our own fear, that we are creating this sense of them or they being more powerful than we are. And who's this they or them? I might call it the government or a certain political leader or a whole bunch of politicians, or it could be the Illuminati that you're concerned about, or aliens, or God, or whatever it is. Or like I said, that we can take it down to the smallest version, one person who seems more powerful than you are in your life, who you've given this command over to, you've assumed that they have authority over you, and you are then feeling helpless and feeling, struck by their spell. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whether there's a lot of people on my Facebook group at the moment who are cutting out their friends because there's full of haters, and the people are being angry and nasty, and it's like, well, you're just giving them that power. Let's try something else. You don't really have to cut. I mean, you can cut people off. I don't agree with staying friends with people that you don't love and that don't feel that way about you. But just cutting it off and shutting your eyes and making it doesn't make it go away. That energy is still there, even if you can't see it. So let's see it. Let's actually have the courage that Dorothy in the movie has, and then her lion and her other friend, whatever he's called, and they actually have the courage and they say, right, I've got to go and face this fear of mine, this projection of my fear, this projection of my helplessness and my inferiority and my lack of command and authority of what I can have and not have in my life. And of course then the wizard, once he's been found out, and of course he's very humble and very obliging, and he just felt really insecure, and whatever, they meet on a real level, they meet on a truth level. Everything sort of calms down. We go, okay, you were just feeling insecure, it's all right, I got you, so now can you actually help me? And of course when you ask for help from that sincere, humble place, with that courage to open, of course that help is going to come, especially when you're asking in the right place. So that ask, please take me home, in the heart chakra, in the Emerald Palace. And the magical thing that she does, and she has those little red shoes and she clicks her heels together. And and she says, whatever she says, please take me home, or I want to go home, or something. She repeats this little mantra of something about, I can't remember, I haven't watched it for years. I'm going home. I can't remember. I should have watched it before I told you. Anyway, for me this is really fascinating. Like red, if you're into energy healing or energy and chakras, red is the colour of the base chakra. It's right deep down there below the sacral, where we sit, in the groin, in the place of sexuality, in the place where we connect to earth, body, blood, bones, money, materialism, the earth. That's our humanity right there in the base chakras, where we procreate human beings. And it's a really, really powerful place. And a lot of the time it's been buried, it has been neglected, or it's been dumped with loads of heavy shit, loads of shame and guilt and nasty, horrible emotions and anger and suppression, all kinds of stuff. But when that base chakra is clear and open, and it's vibrating and it's clear and it's conscious, and we connect our heart, our truth, our unveiling, and seeing the real truth, and we connect it down into our seat, into our base chakra, and even down into our feet, so it's anchored, it's earthed. We stand for ourselves on this earth, in our human power and in our divine power equally. And you click those heels and you say, please take me home. I mean, you can click your heels if you want. I don't know if you have to do that, but what I do is I just ask my heart to take me home to the truth, so that I remember. And from this place of my heart and this place of my truth and being in my power, nothing is more powerful than me. It's my illusion that thought it was. not a person being with their anger and their fear, and I feel nothing but love and compassion. I genuinely do when I've returned to this place. Because we can dissolve the illusion and we can say then to ourselves, gosh, I'm so sorry, me, I really believed in that fear. I really believed in that projection of evil, or that projection of defeating authority, powerful, more powerful than me authority. I really fell for that illusion. Gosh, me, I'm so sorry, and I have that compassion. Please forgive me. And I ask myself to just release myself from that. Like, wow, you can let that go, me. You don't need to carry that anymore. That doesn't feel good. I love you, me. This is my choice, to love myself, to stand by myself enough that I hold myself in that vibration of love, absolute love. Thank you, me, well done. And I can turn to my so-called enemy, that projection, that fear, my hater, the Illuminati, the government, whatever you want, whatever label you want to put on that, whatever's freaking you out right now. Look at it and say, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I'm really projecting my fears onto you. I'm projecting my uncertainty, my insecurity, my lack of power, my helplessness. I'm projecting it all over you, and I'm giving you that authority. I'm giving you that power over my life. And that's totally scary. That's really bad, and I feel awful. And actually, that's really not the truth. That's really not fair for me to do that, actually, to dump all over you and blame you and make you the bad guy. I'm so sorry. And not sorry from a place of guilt or shame like we were taught when we were children, but more like sorry as in, wow, I really see that actually that's not the case. That's not actually true. My goodness, let me wake up. Let me pull the curtain aside, like little Toto the dog did. Pull the curtains open. Let's unveil this. Oh my goodness, I now see. I've just been projecting. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, bad guy. Politicians, Illuminati, government, hater, enemy, ex-partner, boss, my own, whatever you're dumping all over. Please forgive me that actually I'm being really rather threatening to you, and I'm giving you all my power and then blaming you. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Take that back. Unhook them. Take the hook out of them. Take the hook out of you. I love you, actually. You're a human being just like me. Oh my goodness, we have the same needs, the same wants. Actually, we just all need to be in peace. We all just need to be loved. I love you. Thank you for giving me my power back. Thank you for being that projection of my evil self, my dark self, my out of control mind, my unhinged self. Thank you for being that fear for me so that I could see it clearly that actually that's not true. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And come home. And you take the hand and you say, let's go home. Please come home to the absolute truth that I am, that you are right now. Boom. Breathe. Breath o'clock right now. Bring it into this moment right now. Exist right now. This, my friend, is how I believe is a really cool way and very effective way to get back in your power, get back in your seat of your power, grounded, anchored in your bottom, in your legs, in your feet, on this earth, with your heart and your body in the same place, and your mind recalibrated to recognize something which feels much more comfortable to embody, that's not as uncomfortable as anger, fear, projections, hatred, and all those nasty things which are weakening you. So I hope that you give that a try, and maybe you did that along with me just then. It's a really great idea to say it all out loud, because then it's clear. You're making a clear message. It's not all garbled jumble in your head with all the other voices. Yeah? Statements of power, statements of command, statements that are humble. Please, out loud. I'm going to say it out loud. Please forgive me, you, me, that I got tangled up in this, that we're all in a big mess and we need to untangle. Because it's not the truth of humanity at all, and it does not have to be our future. It does not have to be the place from which we exist on a right now basis. So I love you. I hope that helps. And I've also posted a peace meditation today on YouTube. It'll be available on my website, www.taraloveperry.com. I'm going to stick it up there on the homepage for anybody who wants to have a peace meditation today and help you get you back in your centre, back home where you belong. So much love. Peace. and out.